Okay, we're up to Lamed Beis Amid Aleph. We're up to the Mishnah. Lamed Beis Amid Aleph. Good morning. Matzah berefet. If you find, again, we're discussing if you find something with whether it's you don't have to deal with it. It's certainly an aveda. The question is whether an aveda that you wouldn't have a problem of l'suchel salim, that you wouldn't have to deal with it. So matzah berefet. If you find it in a barn, ain't chayiv ba. You find it in a barn, you wouldn't be chayiv to go ahead and deal with it. We say that the owner knows where it is. If you find the animal in Rishus Harabim, then you be chayiv ba. So it's important to get down these two cases. A refet in a barn, you're not chayiv. In Rishus Harabim, you will be chayiv to deal with it. B'mhoisa bebeis hakvaris, and if the Metzia was in the base, the aveda was in the base hakvaris, lo yitama, lo yizakayin, it should be mitama. We spoke it out, like the mitzvah's essay of what of a Shavas aveda does not go ahead and circumvent the mitzvah's essay of Kedoshim Yiyu, and the mitzvahs loisas say of loyitama. So im amar loy aviv hitama, or his father tells him go ahead and be mitama. Shama loy al tachzir, or he tells him do not go ahead and return it. Loy shama loy, you don't listen to your father. And again, this is a famous halacha which we'll go through based upon the pasuk in Parshas Kedoshim. Parik v'toyin, there's a mitzvah in the Torah of prika, of loading and of unloading and tin unloading. Parik v'toyin, afilu arba b'chamisha pamim, even 4 or 5 times. You have to keep on going, even 4 or 5 times. One would have to continue going ahead, and don't do it once. To keep on going. Shneimar, as we saw yesterday, azoiv tazoiv, double lashon, azav tazoiv, right? Halach v'yeshev loy. If the guy sits down, v'amar hoyel v'olecha mitzvah, since it's your mitzvah, in mitzayncha lifroik, if you want, you can unload it. Parak, unload it. Pata, shenear imoy, right? He asav tasav imoy. You should go ahead with him. If he's sitting around and taking his time, not interested, then you don't have to go ahead and do it. If a person's older or he's a chayla and he's unable to help, chayiv. Then he be chayiv. In other words, the person who owns the animal and he doesn't want to help you because he's unable to help you, not because it's his decision he makes, but because he's ill or he's old, then you'll be chayiv to go ahead and lifreik, to unload the animal. Mitzvah natar lifreik. Avaloy litain. So Rabbi Shimon says that even litain, even to load up, right? Even to load up. So we're going to see the Gemara speaking here about Fakesh. We're speaking about Fakesh over here. That later the Tanakama, you unload, you do it for nothing. To load, you do it for money. And Rav Shimon says even to load up is also bechinam. So lifreik is without money. Litain is with money. Rav Shimon says even to load would be for free. If the guy overloaded the donkey, you don't have to help him. Underneath its load, let's say if it's the donkey, it says on the donkey, maximum amount 50 pounds, and you find 100 pounds on the donkey, and you find it's a bracha of the donkey, then you don't have to help. That's according to Rabbi Glili. So the first din of the Mishnah was, again, Rav Avi, we're in the Mishnah, we just did the Mishnah on Lamed Beis, and we're at the Gemara. First thing in the Mishnah was, if you find it in a barn, it's not considered an aveda. If you find it in Rishus Harabim, it's an aveda. The Gemara qualifies the barn. Amarava. Refet she'amru, when we're discussing this refet, eina maseh, it's not a refet that's going to incite the animal to leave. For example, let's say it's a very hot barn, or it's a barn with no food in it. There would be factors in that barn that would go ahead and make the animal leave. So it has to be one that not maseh, that wouldn't incite it to leave. In addition, it's not mishuma. The animal can come and go. Eina masa, how do you know you can't incite it? Eina chayiv ba, right? You're not chayiv. Now, if it was a place that would incite the animal, obviously that's not the owner would leave in that condition, so you would be chayiv to return it. Eina mishameres. Now, what do you know the din that it's not being watched? From the second case of the Mishnah, when it says that it tells us that mitzvah berefet ein chayiv ba. When it says ein chayiv ba, hisal k'dayt mishameres. If you found it outside, and you bring it inside, we said the other day, what happens if you find it outside? You just put it inside. As long as it's mishumar, You don't need das bailam. The special halacha we said yesterday by the returning of aveda different than by geneva or by the four shomrim. That by the four shomrim you need das to tell them that you put it back. By geneva you need to tell them that you put it back. Over here, as long as it's mishumer, you don't have to tell them anything. Just put it in. So Mamela, this must be speaking about it's not mishuma, because if it was mishuma, you're following svara. Madach, where it's outside and it has a shame aveda, you put it in, you're good. Certainly, if it was inside and mishuma, you don't have to do anything. So Mamela, you can infer that it wasn't mishuma. Very, very nice, Raya. So again, one more time. Tisal kedaitach mishameres, that this barn is watched. Hashna mishkach lo abroi. If you find the animal outside, you have to bring it inside. Mishkach lo megavoy miboy. If you find it inside, you have to tell me that you leave it inside. El must be shmamino in mishameres. Must be in mishameres. So we have two halachas. The barn can't be a barn that's going to incite the animal to leave, nor is it a barn that is mishama the animal. Like the animal has the ability to come and go. In that case, we say that it's not an aveda. Matzah berefet ein chayiv. Rabbi Yitzchak. Now, where is this refet? This oimedes is within 2,000 amas of the city. That's when it's not an aveda. Nechlal de b'shus harabim v'afila b'toichat chum nami chayiv. Again, look back in the Mishnah. There's two dinim, one after the other. Says the Mishnah, Matzah berefet ein chayiv ba. If you find berefet, you're not chayiv. When are you not chayiv? Is what? Is speaking where it's what? It's oimed in the toichat chum. Mashma b'shus harabim chayiv ba. Even b'toichat chum, you would be chayiv. In other words, even b'toichat chum, it would be considered an aveda. Making that the first two cases of the Mishnah are speaking in the same scenario, where it's b'toichat chum. So in the scenario where the barn is b'toichat chum, you're not chayiv to return it. It's not an aveda. In rishus harabim, you would be chayiv. It would be an aveda b'toichat chum. That's the diak. Iked demasni la seifa. However, there are those who learn it on the seifa, and will get a different din as a result. B'rishus harabim chayiv ba, you're chayiv to return it. Rabbi Yitzchak v'hu shomedes chutz l'tchum. Oh, exact opposite. In other words, only chutz l'tchum. The diak of the ratio is afilu mitoichat chum. No, the seifa is only chutz l'tchum. Toichat chum, it would not be aveda in rishus harabim. Only chutz l'tchum is an aveda rishus harabim. Mechal de berefet, and now conversely, the din of the refet also will be different. Mechal de berefet, afilu oimedes chutz l'tchum, nami eina chayiv ba. So nafkamina between the first lashon and the second lashon. According to the first lashon, when is it? It's only toichat chum that you're not chayiv by refet. Chutz chum, you would say what? Chayiv ba. According to the second lashon, no. Afilu chutz chum in chayiv ba. According to the first lashon, toichat chum by rishus afilu toichat chum b'shus harabim you be chayiv. Like the second lashon, no. All dafka chutz chum, not mitoichat chum. It's the exact opposite dinim. The basic forest lo yitamala. If it's a basic forest, you shouldn't go ahead and be metamat to it. How do you know if your father tells you he tame? Go ahead and be metamat to it. Or al taxir, or he tells you do not return it. You shouldn't go ahead and listen to him. Shenemar ish imoy ve'aviv tiro ve'eshav shoshei tishmaru. Ani Hashem Elokeichem. Now, what does the pasuk of Shabbos have to do with kivrut avim? Ish imoy ve'aviv tiro ve'eshav shoshei tishmaru. What is it right? Kulchem chayavim b'chvoidi. So what do we say? If your father tells you to be mechal Shabbos, you don't listen. So too, if your father tells you to go ahead and go be mitama, you don't listen. If your father tells you to be mevatel the mitzvah hashem teshivim, you don't listen. The whole reason you're not listening is because of the pasuk. Halav hachi without this pasuk, havamina, saisile, you should listen to your father. And without a pasuk, you'd say you listen to your father. In other words, the svarach itzayin is to listen to your father. If you need a pasuk to tell me, don't listen to him. Right? Why do you need a pasuk? Hi asay v'hai lois asay v'asay. It's an asay to listen to your father. It's a lois asay to not be metamal amesim, and an asay of kadoshim yiyu. V'loy osi asay v'doicha es lois asay v'asay. And I guess And by a Shavas Aveda, you also have an Asay, let's say, you have an Asay of Hashev Teshivim, and Lesuchel Isalim. So in other words, why do I need the Pasuk? As Ish Imoy to tell me you don't listen to your father. Why would you think you don't listen to you? You should listen to your father. The Svarach Yitzayna is you don't listen to your father. Because it's not say, it's Itzrich. Sakadei Chamina. Hoyel v'hukish kivud of aim. L'chvoidoi shel makayim. Since kivud of aim is hukish, is compared to kavod of Hashem. Shnemar kan, it says kavod es avicha v'esimecha. V'nemar lahalon kavod es Hashem mehoincha. Go ahead and mekabed HaKadosh Baruch Hu with your money. Hilkach l'tzayas. I would think since it's such a strong mitzvah, because it parallels kivud HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's even dochalosa say v'yasei. If I need a pasuk, Kamash Malon, Lo Shmielate. Masalon, you have a pasuk, tell me, don't go ahead and listen to your father. Very, very packed concept. Again, this idea, there's a Meshachach and Pashas Kedoshim, if you're beginning, should look up. The big question over here is, where is the Kivud of Aim? Why does your father, where's the Kivud of Aim? Well, you know, if you look in the Sugya in Kedushin, guys, what's Kivud of Aim? Don't, right? Go ahead and bring him food, take away his plate, go dress him, put on his shoes. It's an action you're doing. What are you doing over here? So listening is not hana. You know, what hana is he getting? And no, he's not getting hana. Listening is not hana. So I'll give you a good source. Kedushin, Tosfos, the first Tosfos on Lamed Beis, Lamed Aleph, says that the hana is when he tells you, don't return the Aveda because he wants you to do something else for him. The hana he has is you're doing something else at that time. Don't pick up the Aveda, go to pizza time and get me a pizza. In other words, it's not just the act. It's not the act. It's not the act of, again, that's not kibbut. Kibbut is you're giving him hana. Listening is not. That's not kibbut. Again, we're redefining kibbut. It's not. Kibbut is doing something for him. I'll show you the Tosfos afterwards. But you have to go ahead and do something, right? So therefore, it's, what am I doing? By not doing this, I'm going to have time to do something else. By not doing this, I'm going to have time to do something else. Weiter. Just interesting Tosfos. The bottom Tosfos. Kavidas Hashem mehoincha. Hadinakit kra the divrei Kabbalah. Why go ahead? Why do we jump to that pasuk? Is in Navi, right? It's not even in Navi. It's in Mishlei. It's in the Kesuvim. So why do we go ahead and compare that? Why don't we bring that pasuk? I bring the pasuk in Parshas Kedoshim. Says the Gemara Mishnah the kavod. Want to bring a pasuk that uses the pasuk of kavod, the word kavod itself. The word kavod itself, even though both will be biblical terms if we learn the Parshas Kedoshim and the Aseres Adibris, but therefore we want to use the word kavod itself.
Why could it be because of Yira? Isn't Yira not contradicting a parent? If your father says, "Don't take it," and you take it, that's you're violating Yira.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's to. But we want kibbut of aim, not Yiras of aim. I guess you're saying this is din of kibbut of aim, not Yiras of aim. Your Yiras of aim is refraining from doing something, right? Not doing something, and here's telling you to do something. Go ahead. Do not take that. Do something else. In other words, again, it has to be beget of something that you're helping. If you kibbut of the whole hakpado here, you see from the Gemara is kibbut of aim. Yiras of aim is don't sit in this place, right? You know, all the loisa says. But I don't know if it's going on Yira. I think it's going on kibbut. That's what I think so. Mitzvah min Torah lifroik avaloi litain. The mitzvah in Torah to go ahead and lifroik, but not to be toying. What does that mean? There's a mitzvah to unload, but not to load. My avaloi litain. What do you mean? There's no mitzvah to load. Ilema avaloi litain klal, not to reload the animal at all. Maishna prika dechsiv asev tazavimai. What's different? Prika. It says to go ahead and unload. It says asev tazavimai. Te'ina nami to load ksiv hakim takeimai. So we have psukim that go ahead and tell us both things. So when the Mishnah said there's a din of prika, but there's no din of tina, it can't mean there's no din of tina at all. Well, I gave you the answer already, about schar. But question reading it, there's no mitzvah of of being toy and helping the guy, helping him out. What does it mean? Mitzvah min Torah lifroik bechinam is a mitzvah to unload for nothing. But there's no mitzvah to load for something. So therefore, you get a mitzvah, but he has to pay you for it. He has a donkey to be laden. Go ahead, you can do it, but he's got to pay you for it. Rabbi Shimon Omer, af litain bechinam. Rabbi Shimon says, if af litain bechinam. So go back in the Mishnah, guys. Back to the Mishnah. Mitzvah min HaTorah, where it says Gemara, go up 4 lines. Mitzvah min HaTorah lifroik is a mitzvah min HaTorah to go ahead and be porik for free. Avaloi litain. Litain you could do for schar. Sheminoima af litain for chinam. Right? But again, you have to interject those words. Because reading it literally, it appears as if there's no mitzvah at all. Okay, back by us. Taninu hadatan rabbanan. This interpretation of the Mishnah is that we just interpreted is you have a raya to it. Prika bechinam tina b'schar of sheminoima suvazu bechinam. My tamayu rabbanan that you expect that you get paid for a tina. He sakadai to Reb Shimon that you don't get paid for tina. Lichte rachmana tina v'leiboy prika. Just write to load, and I would know you unload or unload. Ba'na amina, and I would say the following: Uma tina, loading. The less but tsar balichayim. The animal has nothing on it. There's no tsar balichayim to the animal at all. The leka chisar and kiss, and there's no monetary loss because the animal pashit is not being harmed. Chayiv, a person's chayiv to do prika, to unload an animal that's in a state of tsar and may die or be injured. So therefore, it would be unnecessary to write prika. What's the reason the Torah wrote a mitzvah by prika? Prika bechinam and tina b'schar. Very, very geschmack alima, right? You have a kal v'chomer, guys. You have a kal v'chomer to do prika from teina. Madach is the mitzvah teina, even though there's no tsar b'lechayim and there's no monetary loss, no chesron and kiss. Kol kal v'chomer, where there is tsar b'lechayim, there would be a monetary loss. There would be a mitzvah. So why do you write prika? To tell me that prika is what is bechinam, but teina is b'tzchar. Reb Shimon, my time. What's the reason you wrote prika? We shouldn't learn Messiah Mikra. We said yesterday, right? We can learn any which way. If you say one pasuk, you want to know the other one because each pasuk could be. I would say if you have one pasuk, guys, it's speaking about prika. If you have one pasuk, it's speaking about prika. So I wouldn't know tina. I know prika that you have to unload it, but I wouldn't know tina that you would load it. Therefore, you had to tell me both. That was the case of Reb Shimon yesterday. Rabbanan, Amayla Messiah Mikra. Rabbanan, what are you talking about? Look at the psukim. It's roive, it's under it's mashma under its load that it needs to be unloaded. Hasam ksiv noiflim baderech. The rami einayhu v'tina, that both in the animal are what are on the derech, meaning the loads on the derech. If the loads on the derech it needs to be replaced. If the loads on the derech it needs to be replaced. But mashma. Shimon noiflim baderech inu v'tainu alayu. Doesn't mean that the load is separate from him. It means the animal is lying there and the load is lying upon him. But there is no din of tina. Therefore, I only had one pasuk. I'll use a prika. Therefore, you have to tell me both. Amarava. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to digress. Nice digression. The sugya of tsar balichayim. Okay, for those people who just joined, we're on Lamed Beis, Omid Beis at the top, and we're doing the sugya. I'm going to spend a little time on it. The sugya of Tsar Balichayim. So just for what the source for Tsar Balichayim is in fact the Machloikas Rishonim. The Ritva in Asugya says it's Allah Chumash Misinai. That Tsar Balichayim, if you hold it's the Oraisa, if you hold it's a rabbinical source, the Oraisa source, but a biblical source, it is from the din of it's Allah Chumash Misinai. That's the Ritva in Asugya. There's a Shita Mukubetzes who quotes the Ravid that we learn at Tzar Balichayim from Leisachsim Shor B'dishay. Leisachsim Shor B'dishay, you can't go ahead and muzzle a shore when it's threshing. Why? Because it's threshing, it's going to see all those goodies, and it's not going to be able to eat, right? So you'll be over in Tzar Balichayim. It's a very, very, those are two sources. There's another source from a Sefer Haredim, there's a mitzvah of Halachda B'Drachov, that We should emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a rachum. We should rachmanis on the animals. I like to bring a source that my own source that is not brought by anybody else that I know. I share it with you. It's imberatious. No, I have it up on the screen. Guys, you can see this? You see the little dot over here? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what this is. This is the Ramban explaining why Adam couldn't eat meat. This is the Ramban explaining why Adam could not eat meat. Before Noach, and before Noach saved the animals, he couldn't eat meat. But the animals that move, they're a little bit in their weight, in their nefesh, nidmu, comparable to human beings. An animal is described as a bali nefesh tenua. Basically, it moves. We are bali nefesh muskeles in lashon of seichel. We're an intellectual being. Animals have bechira in what's good for them and their lifestyle. They run away from pain, the hamisa and death. When you see that Thompson gazelle running across the savannah, being chased by the cheetah, it doesn't stop and say, eat meat. All the animals, they run away. They know instinctively what they do it instinctively, but their choices are choices of good choices. And he brings the pasuk. And when by the Eitzadas, and by the Cheda of the Dar Hamabel, the Hishchas Kolbasa Darko al Oretz. So says the Ramban, the reason why Adam couldn't eat meat was because the similarities of the nefesh between an animal and a person. The similarities in the nefesh between an animal and a person. Therefore, Adam could not eat meat. Because of those similarities, he could not eat meat. I'm going to try to get this a little bit bigger. Okay. Good. Now, what happened? Why was Adam able to eat meat? And therefore, ukasher chatu v'hishkas kolbasa darka al haaretz v'nigzar sheyimchu mibabel. They were guys that it should be destroyed in the Mabel. U'ba'avar Noach hitzel mehem l'kiyam amin, and Noach saved them to keep the species going. Nasal hem rishus lishchait v'lechol. Because Baruch Hu gave him rishus to shecht and to eat the animals. Ki kiyumam ba'avuro, because the kiyum of the animals is because of Noach. In other words, fellas, Noach showed the difference between a person, bali nefesh muskeles, and an animal, bali nefesh tenua. The animals couldn't save us, but we saved the animals. Memela, the distinction between the two was so distinct, now the similarity wasn't there, and therefore Adam was given a right to eat the animal. Then kol zeh, loinasan arishus benefesh. Even that, there still is some chshivas of the nefesh. It's fascinating. One of the 7 mitzvahs beinoch is Evim min achai. Why? Because of the nefesh of the animal. And since Adam couldn't eat meat initially because of the nefesh of the animal, it extended. Even when he was permitted to eat meat, you still couldn't eat the meat when the nefesh was in the animal by taking off a limb. The Yosef lanu mitzvah lesser kol dam, mifnei shu ma'amid nefesh. And the reason why we don't eat dam is because dam is the nefesh of the human being, and the animal. K'dichsiv ki nefesh kol basa domai ki nafshehu. V'amal b'nei Yisrael dam kol basa leisochlu ki nefesh kol basa domahu ki hitir aguf b'chai sheina medaber ach amisa. We permitted the body loya nefesh atzma, not the nefesh itself, and therefore you can't eat evim min achai. Therefore you don't eat blood because the nefesh of the blood is in the animal. V'zet hamashchita, to get rid of the blood. Umasha Amar Sar Balei Chayim de Araisa. And this is the source, guys, for Tsar Balei Chayim de Araisa, because of the chashivas of the nefesh of the animal. That goes back to the beginning of time where Adam could not eat meat. Beautiful, beautiful Ramban, guys. Beautiful source for why Tsar Balei Chayim de Araisa, because of the chashivas of the nefesh of an animal. That's the Gemara. Top line. On the base, on the base. V'divrei shneim nilmad, sabar lechaim deraisa. V'afil Reb Shimon loy kamar, and even the divrei shneim is a Tanakama, and they said that Prika is Adif. Both Reb Shimon and the Tanakama said Prika you do for nothing, right? Guys, why are you doing it for nothing? Because you have to unload the animal, because it's hard for the animal, right? I feel Reb Shimon like Omar that what Ela Mishum Delay Messiah Mikra. The reason that what Reb Shimon said that what that you need to go ahead and write Prika. In other words, Kasha like Reb Shimon, if Tzabei Chaim is the Raisa, of course you have to write Prika. And so, but even according to him, Mishum Delay Messiah Mikra, the reason of Messiah Mikra, Darsha Kal V'Chaimer. But once the pasuk is written, you have the Kal V'Chaimer. Madach Tino, where there's no tsar, right? There's no tsar. And there's no chasor and kiss. Kol shkein priko, it is tsar and chasor and kiss. Okay. Kal V'Chaimer. Mishamai, lav mishum tzar b'alechaim dashinon. Says, well, Dilma Mishum Dikach Chasar Kiss. No, maybe the Raya, maybe don't shtel zechan of pain. Shtel zechan mat, the Kal V'Chaimer, Madach, where there's a monetary loss that the animal is going to be destroyed, right? Kol shkein Te'ina, where there's no monetary loss, right? That's the opposite way. Te'ina, there's no you have to help where there's no monetary loss, Kol shkein where there's a monetary loss. But not the shchita part, not the Tzar B'Alechaim part. V'achi Kamar, Umatina, the less B'Chasar Kiss Chayev, because this B'Chasar Kiss the Kol shkein. For the Gemara, Uteina in Bachasam kiss, Bilo Yaskinan Kidada, Hachi Bottom Mishuke. By fooling around, it's not going to get to the marketplace on time. Fooling around, it's not going to get to the marketplace on time. So you're going to take the animal won't be, monetary loss in the animal, but your goods that you have on the animal, you won't be able to sell. Inami Asuganvi Vishakli Koma the Ikabade. He's going to, unless you get on the animal, get out of there, you're going to in the forest, they're going to come and steal it. Okay. Hated Tzab Alechaim Deraisa, the Tani Seifa, Rabbi Yosef Glili Omer, Im Hoyu Olov Yeser Al Maso, if he's overloaded, it was supposed to be only 50 pounds. Ain't Zakiklo, you don't have to help him. Shinemar Tachas Masoy Shiyach Alamid Boy. Lam Mechal Tanakama Savid Zakiklo, Tanakama holds that what? You have to help him. We have two opinions, right? It says Rabbi Yosef Glili, you know what? Overloaded, don't help. Tanakama, yes, help. Rav Shimon, yes, help. Yeah. Why? I must be at Tzabei Alechaim. So they have a raya. My time, Lamishum Tzabei Alechaim deraisa. Says when Dilma mitachas masoi pligi. Maybe the only argument one had to set sign the pasuk. But Yesi Sava dashin and tachas maso, and therefore anything overloaded, no. Masoi shiach alam boy Rabbanan Savi loy dashin and tachas maso. Don't make the drasha. But in Achanami Tzabei Alechaim will be the Rabbanan. Take that Tzabei Alechaim lav deraisa. Now going the other direction, saying Tzabei Alechaim is not deraisa. The Tani Reisha halach v'yoshev loy. If it's not, if the guy goes ahead and sits down, since you have mitzvah to unload, horik, potter, then you potter. Just leave it. Now, if Tzab Alechaim was the Raisa, what does depend upon him sitting down or not? You would have a chiyuv to go ahead and unload the animal. Ella, where you see it's that if he doesn't want you to unload the animal, he doesn't want to help you, you don't have to. Obviously, Tzab Alechaim must not be the Raisa. It must not be the Raisa. Shnemar, imoi. Why do you care if he's there? Why do you care he's not there? It says no Tzabei Alechaim is the Raisa. Mi Sabis Potter Gami. When it says that your Potter doesn't mean your Potter completely. No. But don't Potter Bechinam B'Chayiv B'Schar. Guys, what did we say? We said for to load he has to pay you. To unload, everyone seemed to hold that what he doesn't have to pay you. Good. So when it says over here that he says, and the guy tells you, I don't want to help you, you do it, it's your mitzvah, you don't have to do it, it doesn't mean you don't have to do it. It means you don't have to do it for nothing. You do have to do it, but you don't have to do it for nothing. You could do it for schar. Why? But why do you have to do it? Because Tzar B'Alechaim is the Raisa. Because Tzar B'Alechaim is the Raisa. So you would have to do it for that. For that reason, you would have to do it. Got it? Notice, what's your raya? You want to bring a raya from Yosef Glili, from not Yosef Glili, that the guy says, listen, it's your mitzvah, you do it. Potter, we thought Potter completely. If Tzabei Alechaim is the Raisa, how can you say Potter completely? The animal's there in a state of unrest and not doing well. So the answer is no. You have to unload it. Why? Because Tzabel Chaim is the Raisa. Potter means you potter for do it for nothing, but for schar, then you have to do it. Good. Vachi kam rachmana. Kiyas yelamare behedye ovid gabei bechinam. Less than lamare behedye is not helping you. Ovid gabei beschar. Well, oilam Tzabel Chaim the Raisa. Simen behemas oyev soine ravtzin. Okay, we have a whole sugi of Tzabel Chaim. Let's begin. Okay, we're going to bring rayas. Lema Messiah, that is the Raisa. I'll bring you rayas the Raisa. Behemus levet kechavim, behema of a guy, metapel ba, ke behemus Yisrael. You unload it. Metapel right now, we're learning, metapel means literally to deal with it, right? So we're touching metapel over here, lifreik. Go ahead and unload behemus Yisrael. Very good. You can hold Sabel Chaim as the Raisa. It is irrelevant who owns the animal, but it's an animal. And if it's an animal, I have to go ahead and help it. And that would explain why you have to unload a Goyish animal. Why? So you have a raya when you have to unload the behema of a guy, that what that Sabal Chaim is the Raisa. It says no Hasam Mishum Eva. The reason you have to unload is because of Eva. It would cause hatred that if you don't unload the animal. Hachnami mistabra diktani im hoisa tuuna yain aser. If it was tuuna, it was loaded with wine of yain esech, ein zakikla. You don't have to help. No, it's tell the guy the following. I know this is a din of Ava, and you think I'm doing this. I can't help you. I remember so many times in Shabbos, a ball will be lost. I'm walking by, and I could tell the guy, I'm not picking it up because it's Shabbos. I can't throw you the ball, you know? Like, I don't know whether you understood it or didn't understand it, but again, you give a reason. So over here, I can't help you unload because, you know, it's us for me. If it's the Araisa, then why shouldn't you help him unload? Again, it's the Raisa, so forget about Tziyayin Esech. You're taking it off the animal. It's a din of the animal. So the Hakikamar, it's not speaking about prik at all. It's not speaking about unloading, ulatina, and it's speaking about loading. Ulatina, and to load, yayin asar, right? Asar. Ein zakakla. If to load yayin, then ein zakakla. Look at Rashi. Hakikamar, ulatina, ulolim deraisa, takits deraisa. Reisha Tana Metapelba, Bein Prika, Bein Betina. And the Reisha says you can deal with the guy whether it's unloading or loading. Prika Mishum Tzabal Echayim, Utina Mishum Eva, and loading Mishum Eva. Ulatina Yain Asa, but to load Yain Asa, the Lav Sairi Ika, the Lav Eva Ika, Ein Zachikla. I guess that's where you can tell the guy, I can't help you load because why? Because it's Asa for me. Tashma, Behemis Levi Kichavim Umasoi Yisrael. If the animal belongs to a goy and the load belongs to a Jew, the chadalta, it says. Right? Chadalta means, we're learning now, you don't have to unload. The chadalta, stop. So again, the hema goy, masa Yisrael, you don't have to unload. So this l'chor is going to be a raya that Sabay L'chaim is lav deraisa, because v'yamit Sabay L'chaim deraisa, my v'chadalta, asa tasla mi boile. If the animal is owned by a goy and the load is a Jew, and Sabay L'chaim is the Raisa, so who owns the animal? Should you have to unload the animal? Loyum Sabay L'chaim is the Raisa. So how can you go ahead and not unload the animal? Hasan Medina, it's speaking about loading the animal. You have the behemoth of a goy and the masa of a Jew, right? Then what? Chadalta, you don't load the animal. Yihachim is Seifa, behemoth Yisrael, masa yavi kechavim, asav tazay, betina my asav tazay. Why are you going to go ahead? What? The Hema of Yisrael and the Masa of a guy, why do you have to load the animal? Mishim Sari Yisrael. Yihachi, I feel a Reisha Nami. Reisha is speaking Becham Roy V'Kichov. The Reisha is speaking about with the wagon, the Chamar, the one driving it is a guy. And therefore you don't have to help him. Sefer Becham Yisrael, and therefore you have to help him. My Paska, go after the animal. Stomach the Milsa Inish Basa Cham Yazal. Right? It says what? It says, the animal belongs to a Jew. Excuse me, if the animal is a Jewish animal, so you can assume that the wagon, the driver is a Jew, so they help him out. If it's the animal a guy, then you don't have to help him out because some of the chamor is a guy. but it says no. Chadalta v'azav tazav prika u'dechsiv. You're saying it's speaking about tina. It says it by prika. You're right. So we have to conclude that this case over here, where you don't load the animal, even though what it's loaded up, you don't help, unload it. It's speaking like Rabbi Yossi Glili says Tzar L'chaim is la deraisa. Okay, so we'll stop over there. Let's stop over here. We'll just the din of Tzar L'chaim is only where there's no purpose to the animal. If there's no purpose, if there's a purpose for you, you get a purpose from it. There's a din of Tzar L'chaim. So this we don't need this anymore. Okay, you can see this. You got something on the screen? Okay, so there's a mechaber. I give you the Shulchan Aruch. This mechaber is, believe it or not, this is in Hilchos Pir V'Rivya. This is Hilchos Pir V'Rivya. It's underlined. It's in Hilchos Pir V'Rivya. It's speaking about the din of being mesaris an animal, going ahead and neutering an animal. You're not allowed to neuter an animal. And so therefore it's going to stop the animal from being Kaim Pir V'Rivya. So along the way, the Ramah drops this. It's the end of Siman Hay, the last Siman in Eben Ezra. This is in Eben Ezra. Kol dava hatzarich l'refuah, anything that's necessary for refuah, oy l'shar devarim, or anything else, less be mishum isat tzar b'alei chayim. Even if you're going to hold tzar b'alei chayim deraisa, if you go ahead and need it, if there's any purpose, you can go. That's not tzar b'alei chayim. Ulechein muta limroit noitzos me avazois chayos, but lekalemechem shum tzar b'alei chayim. Those days, guys, they used to use a quill as a pen. So where would they get the quill from? A duck or a goose. So you could go over to a duck or a goose and mamish pluck out that feather, despite the fact that what? It's going to be painful for the duck. Why? Because you need it. Better way to get it from a dead duck. They would hold that you stay away from that because what? It's achsarius. It's achsarius. So again, even with the heter of tzar b'alei chayim, there is a din of achsarius that a person Shabbat should be careful. Now, I know one tshuva. What?
What is that?
So meaning that you don't do it. Wait till it dies. Wait till get it from a dead duck. If you have no choice, go ahead and pluck it out of the live duck. As long as it's better not to. But again, the point is, anything that what a person has used for is not tzar b'alei chayim. Well, there's crazy people by the kaparis, the people, they're nuts. Again, once something has the purpose of a human being, there's no inyan of tzar b'alei chayim at all. Be aware at all. However, there's a very interesting tshuva. This is the only tshuva from the Yud I know. It's a Madura Tinyana. It's Siman Yud. He was a wealthy guy. I brought this in before. He had a big estate. He had a really, really large estate. And he asked the Nadiv Yehuda whether he's able to go ahead and go hunting. Because maybe a problem with Tzar B'alei Chayim. He wanted to know if it's Tzar B'alei Chayim going ahead to go ahead and hunt. It's Tzar B'alei Chayim. So the Nadiv Yehuda thought about it, and he told him something very interesting. He said, "Get Tzar B'alei Chayim. L'chayr, it's not Tzar B'alei Chayim. If you're getting hana from it, l'chayr, it's necessary for you. It's something. Maybe it's not Tzar B'alei Chayim." But he said that the Torah, you find two hunters. The first one's Nimrod, and the second one's Esav. So he says, "Mizait that hunting is not part of the Jewish people. It's just not. Go take a gun and go shoot something and walk and then go ahead and stuff the head and put it on your wall and say, look what I did." Right? These famous hunters, the taxidermists, they killed something. That's not Nishkan Yiddisha. You see, Achsarius, even plucking a quill from a duck is Achsarius. Kalvachayim, Ben Benoishal Kalvachayim are going ahead and killing an animal for that purpose. That would not be bad. That would not be something we should do. Yes.
And a question about Ozov Tazo, Chadalta. I know for some reason it's in my head that Rashi says it's a bitmiya. The Chadalta, it's saying the opposite.
Exactly. That's what I mean. The Chadalta means that you don't do it. The Chadalta, that's the way we again, the play on words, is that within context of the pasuk, but the word itself, v'chadalta, stop.
Chadalta means but
Stop.
that's not shot in the pasuk though.
Yeah, again, you're taking it out of context. You're taking the word and saying v'chadalta, right? V'chadalta, you should stop.
Ladies, how about something that was raised, maybe questionable, like a veal?
Right. What the tsar? What? But it's for human being to stuff it, to stuff the animals, to make it uncomfortable.
Or just right. They, people say that they lock. I mean, by the way,
But they put it in the cage.
Pocket veal roast to me, but that's besides the point.
But they put it in the cage for what?
They lock it in the thing. They never sees the day of light. It just, it just breaks.
It's for the purpose of a human being. I mean, if you're eating veal, it's for a purpose. It's not stamazai. It's for a purpose. And once anything's for a purpose, it seems to be there's no tzar b'alei.
Sorry, yes, that's not what's going on.
Again, achzarius, I'm not doing it. Can you eat it? Yeah, right. Yeah. Can you eat it? Of course, there's no shiloh about eating it. There's shiloh about doing it. You have to ask a bigger paisik than me. I'm not a paisik. But again, that would be the... Okay, we're going to stop here. We'll do